Namo Buddhaya. Today it's a great pleasure for me once again to share a wonderful sermon with you all that was taught by the Buddha as the first teaching after becoming a Buddha. So first of all, let's go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and observe the 8 precepts, because on the Poya day we should observe the 8 precepts. We should observe the 8 precepts and then stop eating by 12 p.m. and then live the lives of great arahants, follow the lives of great arahants. So let us go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and observe the 8 precepts and listen to a short Dhamma sermon for like 30 minutes. Say together with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear children, usually you observe 5 precepts. අපි පන්සිල්නේ නිතරම සමාදන් වෙන්නේ. නමුත් today you have to observe 8 precepts. 8 guidelines, 8 rules. So the main precept is abstaining from sexual activities, and also, and one of the other main precepts are abstaining from eating after 12. After midday you can't eat. What you can drink is maybe a fruit juice. You have to strain the fruit juice and drink it. And you can eat jaggery, but not food, no soup. So for one day, try to live until next morning, until 5:30 a.m. Live the lives of great arahants, and next day you can observe the 5 precepts and then get back to your normal life. So let's observe the 8 precepts now. Say after me. I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual activities. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. I observe the precept of abstaining from eating at improper times. I observe the precept of abstaining from singing, dancing, watching entertainment, wearing garlands, and beautifying with cosmetics. I observe the precept of abstaining from using comfortable seats and beds, luxurious seats and beds. On this Esala full moon Poya day, imitating great Arahants, I observe these precepts for happiness in this life, for rebirth in heaven, and to realize the Four Noble Truths. In this Gautama Buddha's dispensation, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Venerable Buddhivisuddhi Swamin Wahansa and dear directors, teachers and children. Esala full moon Poya day is a very significant Poya day for us. On the Esala full moon Poya day, our Buddha taught the first sermon and the whole world system trembled. The entire world system trembled and quaked, but no one was harmed. And the first sermon was taught to 5 bhikkhus. They were, you call it, the 5 ascetics. The day the monks were created in the world, the monks were introduced to the world. Only after listening to that sermon, to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. What's the name of the sutta, children? Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. In English you call it, children, setting in motion the wheel of Dhamma. So once the Buddha has set and rotated that wheel of Dhamma, no one else can rotate it backwards. That's how it is. Once the Buddha has revealed the path to eradicate lust, anger and delusion, to overcome lust, anger and delusion, and to live happily, to overcome hatred, to live happily by removing anger, to live happily by removing jealousy, to live happy by removing greediness, to live happily by removing revenge in life. Now, people take revenge. Even as children, don't you take revenge from others? You take. Some children take, some children don't take. So that nature of taking revenge from others, the nature of seeing faults in others, so that nature was not there in the Buddha. Buddha taught a wonderful Dhamma, an amazing Dhamma to eradicate all these bad states in the mind. Therefore, dear Dhamma friends, dear children, the reason we learn the Buddha's teachings is for us to purify our mind. Now imagine if 10 people scold you, how many times you will get angry? is it only 10 times? No. If someone scolded you in the morning, you will get angry at that moment. And then later in the afternoon, when you think of that moment, you will again get angry. You will feel sad and upset. And again in the evening, when you recollect that incident and when you see that person who scolded you in the morning, again you will feel angry and upset. So the reason for your upset or the reason for your sadness is not the person. It's not because of the person who scolded you. It's because of one thing, children. Not purifying our mind. Now, aren't there mosquitoes in your houses? There are mosquitoes in your houses. If there are mosquitoes, what do? You will have a mosquito net to prevent from mosquitoes. Then they won't bite you. Then the mosquitoes won't come in. So in the same way, when you have a shield, when your mind is guarded by mindfulness, you won't get angry. When your mind is guarded by the Buddha's teachings, you won't feel sad. Even if people leave you, even if people corner you, even if people bully you, as long as the mind is guarded, you don't feel angry, you don't feel sad, you don't get upset. So don't you like to have a mind like that? Do you wish for a mind like that? If you wish for a mind like that, you are so fortunate. Now, all of you all, before you come to school early morning, you comb your hair nicely. Don't you? You comb your hair. Then you go to the mirror. You make up a little bit. The girls would beautify themselves. Little bit at least, to some extent. Why? Everyone in this world like to live happily. Like to look beautiful. But if we don't do things that will lead us to live happily, we won't live. We won't be able to live happily. It's like this, children. I'll tell you a simile. Imagine, simile means an example. Imagine you take a huge stone. You take a huge stone and throw it to a river. Where do you throw it? You throw it to a river. And then again you need that stone. Imagine you need that stone again. Then what should you do? Now you have thrown a huge stone to the river, but again you need that stone to bring back to the land. You want to bring that stone back to the land. So if you want to bring that stone back to the land, what should you do? If you yell, okay, stone, come out. Stone, come out from water. Imagine your relatives, all your friends get together and stand at the river bank, and then you yell, say, stone, come out. Hey, come out. Will the stone come out, children? No, the stone won't come out. But if you go to the water, if you jump to the river, and then together with 10 people or 5 people, and you lift the stone, and then you bring back to the land. In that way, can't you bring back the stone to the land? You can bring back. So from this simile, we should understand, children, just having wishes, we can't purify our mind. Just by wishing, we can't pass our exams. Just by wishing, we can't be successful in our education. Just by wishing, we can't get a job. But by performing, by working hard, by dedicating our time, being grateful, having effort, by developing good qualities, we will be able to achieve our hopes and wishes in life. So, how much you yell at the stone won't come to the land unless you go and lift the stone and bring back to the land. In the same way, children, we should think wisely for us to not to get angry. We should think wisely for us to overcome greediness. Now, do you like to associate greedy people? No, right? I'll tell you one incident happened during the Supreme Buddha's time. There was one merchant. That merchant, when he was going on the back of an elephant, he was a merchant. So those days, the royal animals, the the best animals they used for traveling is horses and elephants. So when this merchant was going on a elephant, he saw a Pacheka Buddha. Pacheka Buddha means Pase Buddhajan Vahansela. They are not Buddhas, but they are not Arahants. They are Arahants, but then Pacheka Buddhas, they become Buddhas without the guidance of others. But they don't preach Dhamma. They don't ordain monks like Buddha did. So one day one Pacheka Buddha was coming towards his direction, and he was walking towards the city. Then this merchant got off from the elephant's back and went to that monk, to that Pacheka Buddha, and said, and he saw this monk was traveling with alms ball. Alms ball means patarayak. So then, because monks, to get food, they go from house to house. So this merchant thought, I should help this monk, and he went to the monk, and then he peeped. He just looked at the alms ball. Then he saw the alms ball was empty. Then the merchant said, "Dear Venerable Sir, you can go to my mansion. They will serve you food." And then the Pacheka Buddha accepted his invitation, and then the Pacheka Buddha went to his house and he got food. He got delicious food, the Pacheka Buddha. And the Pacheka Buddha went to the house, and then he was served food, and then he was coming back to the city. He was coming back on the opposite direction. And then the merchant was coming back to his house again. Now again they met each other. First, when the merchant met the Pacheka Buddha did not have food. Now second time when this merchant saw this Pacheka Buddha, again he got off from the elephant and went to that monk. And then again he looked at the alms bowl. And again he looked at the alms bowl. And then he saw the alms bowl was filled with food. Was full with food. To the surface it was full of food, filled with food. Then this merchant thought, now see what happens. Now he was happy. He wanted to offer something. But then after offering something, see what happens to people. After seeing that alms bowl full of food, he thought, in vain I gave this food to this monk. If I would have given this food to one of my workers, I would have get some work out of them. I would have get these people to clean my house. But this monk, what can he do for me? He just thought like that. Now see, he offered food, but then unnecessarily he thought a bad thought. Now why? Was his mind guarded very well? No, his mind was not guarded with the Buddha's teachings. One thing was covering his mind. What was covering his mind? Greediness. 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 Selfish and regret. And having a narrow mind, not a broad mind. Then not generous. Then this merchant, he lived a life, and he lived maybe about 90 years or 8 years, and then he died. After he died, he was born among divine beings 7 times. Why? He gave food to that monk. After being born among devas for 7 times, he came to the human world. 7 times he was born as a human being. Like this time you were born as a human being. Even that merchant, after he came from the divine world, he was born as a human being for 7 times. That means you are born and dead, born and dead. You are born and dead among humans. Now some people in this life they are humans, next life they become dogs. Next life they become creatures, serpents, monkeys. So this life our relatives are human beings, but next life if you are born among animals, your relatives will become whom? Animals will be your relatives. So this merchant, he became a human being for 7 consecutively. In 7 lives he was born as a human being. But then there was one problem within him. He had lot of money. He had lot of possessions. He had lot of properties and wealth, and his stores were filled with gold coins those days. But he never felt, he was so greedy and he was so stingy, he did not feel like spending that money. He had enough money to spend, but then he don't feel like spending money. Why is that? In a previous life, he has given food to others, but later he has feel upset. Why did I give that? He has regret for giving. He has later regret. He has thought, in vain I gave to that monk. So after doing something good, don't regret. පසුතැවෙන්න හොඳ නැහැ හොඳ දෙයක් කරාට පස්සේ. දැන් බලන්න අපරාධ කියලා හිතුණා ඊට පස්සේ මොකද උනේ? පස්සේ කාලෙක මනුස්ස ලෝකෙට ආවා තියෙන සල්ලි පාවිච්චි කරන්න හිතෙන්නේ නැහැ. He had lot of wealth, but he did not feel like using that money. He just had 2 or 3 sets of clothes, and then an old horse to travel around, and then an old cart to travel around. So that's how he suffered. Like that he suffered for 7 lives. Now remember, now see children, before 7 lives, now as a human being, he was born as a human being 7 times. Before that, he was born as a deva for 7 times, and before that he was a merchant. Then he went on an elephant. Then he was born among devas. Then again he came to human world. What happened? He has lot of money. He got lot of money from his parents, from his business, but then he don't feel like spending that money. So who taught these things for us? It was a Buddha. So in the Esala full moon Poya day, the Buddha taught the essence of the Buddha's teachings. They are the 4 noble truths. That means in our lives we go through suffering. Once we are born, we get old, our body will get weak, then we will be infected by many diseases, and then we will die. We will separate from loved ones. We will mix with people that we do not like. අපි කැමති නැති අයත් එක්ක අපට ජීවත් වෙන්න වෙනවා. අපි කැමති අයකින් ඈත් වෙන්න වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි මැරෙනවා, ලෙඩ වෙනවා. එහෙම මේ සීලුම දේවල් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ ඉපදුන නිසා. So then once you are born, remember it's not a day for us to cut a cake and have a party. Remember, everyone who is born in this world will die one day. Death is something that no one would like to recall even. Death follows us like an execution, death follows us like an executioner. So our life is like a dewdrop on the edge of a grass blade. Our life is like a piece of meat thrown to a heated plate. What happens when you throw a piece of meat to a heated plate, iron plate? That iron plate is heated all day long. So for such an iron plate, you throw a piece of meat, then that piece of meat will get burnt. In the same way, our life will end at any time. And our life is like a water stream that is getting dried up day by day. So day by day, we are losing the life that we have to live. Day by day, we are getting closer to death. Day by day, we are getting closer to our old age. Day by day we are getting old, and day by day our body is getting weak. So for such a life like that, we need a protection, dear Dhamma friends. After we die, we should have a good world to be born. We should have a good life to obtain. If not, some people, they are born in light, but they go from light to dark. They are born in rich families in this life, but in next life they become poor. They are born among poor people. Some people are poor in this life, in next life they become rich. Some people are poor in this life, in next life also poor. Some people are rich in this life, in next life also they are rich. So if you like to maintain, at least have what, and to get what you have in this life, we should do good deeds. We should have kindness. We should be friendly among others. At school, we should help each other. We shouldn't bully each other. We are human beings. We should always think, would I like if someone scold me? Would I like if someone cheat me? Would I like if someone blame me? Would I like if someone cheat me by telling a lie? Would I like if someone steal my belongings? So in the same way, other people also doesn't like when you steal things from others. If these children are, imagine if you are a student in the classroom, if you are not listening to your teacher, think if you were a teacher, if your students are not listening to you, how would you feel? So always put yourself in another's place. So on the Esala full moon Poya day, the Buddha preached the true nature of our lives. We go through suffering. We have to go through suffering in life. So the ways that we suffer is by when we separate from loved ones, when we mix with people that we do not like, then we suffer. We cry. Buddha has said when our mothers passed away, when our mothers in the past lives passed away, we have cried more than the four great oceans. So the reason for suffering, now imagine you miss your mother, you miss your father. Sometimes during the coronavirus, your parents would have been stuck in other countries, being unable to come back to Sri Lanka. So then you would have feel upset. Sometimes some children's parents die early. Then we feel sad or we feel upset. Why is that? It's because of attachments. We are attached. So to learn about attachment and detachment, there's a nice experiment. Try to do at home. Take a lotus leaf. What should you take, children? Take a lotus leaf and pour some water to that lotus leaf and see what happens. That water, the water drops will not get absorbed to the lotus leaf. But if you put water to a sponge, what happens? The sponge will get absorbed. The sponge will get wet, but the lotus leaf will not get wet. It is untouched by water. So when you do not have craving in your mind, when you have abandoned craving, even if you lose your loved ones, even if you lose your friends, you won't feel sad. And then this craving can be abandoned. Your mind that has a lot of attachment, the nature of having attachments can be abandoned. And then there's a beautiful path that will lead you to eradicate all the suffering forever. You will never become an ugly person anymore in life. You will never be born in a bad destination. You will never be born among demons. You will never become greedy anymore. You will never get angry at others. You will never even be ungrateful for your parents. The parents who gave life to you. The parents who guide you in the right path. The parents who are paying your school fees. And the parents who have dedicated their life for y'all. You will be grateful for them. So by learning the Four Noble Truths, that the essence of the Buddha's teachings, it might be difficult for you, but then since it is the Esala full moon Poya day, it's my responsibility to teach you the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, at least in brief. So in future we'll try to do some more programs for y'all and learn the Buddha's teachings. So if I were to now, for me to conclude this program, before I conclude, I'll just try to recall and just review what you learned today. One thing, the first story I taught you is, after doing something good, after giving something, don't regret, don't feel upset after giving something. Why? Later, you will have to suffer. You will have money, but you won't feel like spending that money to live happily. You won't feel like spending that money to live happily. So do you like that? No. So on this Esala full moon Poya day, have a strong determination that I will never be upset after giving something. Then I taught you the Four Noble Truths. And the first noble truth, especially the moments and the incidents that make us sad and upset. So when you have protected your mind, when you have a shield to protect your mind, even if you lose loved ones, even if people scold you, will you get angry? No. Why? Your mind is purified. You do not have attachments, no craving. So let's learn the Buddha's teachings in the future as well. So Once again, I bless you all on this Esala full moon Poya day. Today I gave you 8 precepts. Don't forget that. අටසිල් සමාදන් වෙන්න 12න් පස්සේ කන්න එපා. ඊට පස්සේ කාටුන්ස් අද බලන්න එපා. ඊට පස්සේ හොඳට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඇඳක නිදාගෙන හෙට උදේ වෙනකන් අටසිල් ආරක්ෂා කරන්න. හොඳට ඉන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට අපේ ජීවිතේට පිං රැස් වෙනවා. So may you have the opportunity to learn the Buddha's teachings and to guard your mind. To do what? Guard your mind. Not to point fingers at others, not to scold others, not to go and complain to your teachers and to the principal. Try to practice patience. Don't take revenge from others. Live a peaceful life. One day you will be happy thinking that I am a person who has not done bad things. Don't you like to die with a happy mind like that? Thinking that I have never hurt anyone. Even if you can think, okay, I have hurt others, but in most of my life, I have done more good deeds than bad deeds. If you can think like that one day, will you feel sad even if you are all alone? No. So may you have the opportunity to become real disciples of the Buddha and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Theruvan Saranai.